The WNBA continues to get the kind of attention they shouldn't want. All right. Again, Colin Cowherd is making a point to talk about the WNBA again. He does it now multiple times a week, but only when it comes to one player, or in this case, one player and what it is the rest of the league is doing to her.
It looks like the idea of trading Caitlin Clark is actually being seriously discussed now. Just as Indiana starts to calm down, Colin Cowherd jumps in and throws fuel on the rumor fire like it's his mission in life. He's never short on hot takes, and this one could ignite a full-on basketball feud. Is he being over the top? Definitely. But is he off base? That's where things get interesting.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting. The pettiness has no bounds. For years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated, and then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like. When the wave hits, ride it. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted sold out arenas. They got it. I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be this.
Once again, the WNBA seems determined to find new and creative ways to trip over itself, almost like it's trying to make self-sabotage a team sport. Instead of focusing on building strong rosters or expanding the fan base, they've apparently pivoted to plot twists. And the latest brilliant idea? Trade Caitlin Clark like she's some collectible card. They are calling it strategy, as if that move wouldn't throw the entire league, not just Indiana, into a full-blown firestorm of chaos and mismanagement.
This is clearly them cutting her down, because when you look at fan voting, obviously Clark is one, right? Because she has the most fans in the league. So that clearly biased. You go to the media voting.
She was 3.
She was 3. That actually makes sense.
I agree. She's not having the best of years this year. She's actually, her shooting is down.
Exactly.
There's been a number of situations that she's just not played her best ball. But she is still much, eons better than a lot of the other players that they voted in front of her.
Let's get one thing straight. Trading Caitlin Clark wouldn't just wreck the fever, it would tank the league's only sure thing. This isn't just about parting ways with a player, it's about throwing away the main narrative holding everything together. Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's carrying a franchise, and, let's be real, dragging half the WNBA into the spotlight with her own 2 hands. Every ticket bought, every jersey sold, every headline written, her impact is stamped all over it.
A university professor in finance looked up the value of Caitlin Clark for the WNBA. This is insane. So this year, last season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was 26.5% of all economic activity as a rookie on the worst team in the league when she entered it. So now she has an 8-year, $128 million deal with Nike. So, she's going to eat. Merchandise in the league went up off a rookie from a Midwest-based school on the worst team in the league, 230.
Now picture taking all that momentum and shipping it away like a FedEx package. That's the kind of decision that makes fans chuck their remotes, cancel their season tickets, and turn to pickleball out of sheer frustration. There's regular bad, and then there's legendary, record book level bad. And this would be the latter, with a cherry and sprinkles on top.
I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the next 2 weeks while Caitlin Clark is out with the quad strain. And the reason why is because, let me tell you something right now. I'm not going to go to word hate. I'm not going to be out there like RG3 was saying that Angel Reese hates Caitlin Clark or other players hate Caitlin Clark. But I will say this. I don't think it's specific about Caitlin Clark. I think it's what Caitlin Clark represents. See, it's no fault of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark balls. She balled at Iowa in college. She's balled since she's been in the NBA. She came into the league last year with no break whatsoever between the college game and the pro game and did her thing.
But wait, it gets even messier. We're not just tossing around trade rumors like there's an overflow of stars to play poker with. We've also got a coaching twist straight out of a soap opera. The same coach who once stood by while Clark got poked in the eye like it was part of the halftime entertainment is now, surprise, her new boss. Really? What's next? Putting the trainer who iced her ankles in charge of her conditioning. It's not even subtle. This isn't about basketball strategy. It's theater, carefully choreographed with lanyards and clipboards. And the message? Crystal clear. Dim the spotlight, silence the star, and call it team culture. But no one's fooled. Clark didn't just get benched, she got politically sidelined. And the front office didn't just pick any coach, they picked that coach. The one with a track record of selective accountability and mysteriously strategic benchings. Let's be honest, Clark and this coach have zero chemistry. That's not a clash of styles, it's a basketball Cold War. The system doesn't just fail to support her, it actively pushes her out. And the result is on full display every time she's pulled from the court while someone from the far end of the bench gets minutes like it's a charity rotation.
Caitlin Clark had another, whatever you want to call it, confrontation in a WNBA game. Like, why is this happening? The Caitlin Clark phenomenon is one that I got wrong. I never really thought that Caitlin Clark would make the difference that she has in college basketball or in the WNBA. What other sports analogies are out there that are in any way similar to the impact that one individual has had on a larger sporting universe? Tiger was.
So why would a league that finally has all eyes on it start pulling a move like this? One word: control. Control the narrative. Control the star. Keep the fans entertained, just not too empowered. The last thing they want is a player with real influence. That's risky. That's disruptive. That's someone you can't just bench quietly. And when you can't stop a rising star's momentum, you bring in someone who can. You dress it up with smiles and call it player development. But let's be honest, the only thing developing here is a reputation problem and a growing fan base that's frustrated and paying attention. This coach wasn't just hired, she was placed. And if it all feels like a setup, it's because the signs are practically shouting at you. Don't be fooled by anyone trying to frame this as just another normal rookie timeline. Clark isn't developing, she's been put in timeout, like she stepped out of line. Because this isn't about basketball growth. It's personal. It's calculated. And it's highly political. And here's the kicker. Everyone's pretending this coach is just playing it safe, following some master plan. But safe would mean actually using your best scorer, not silencing her game and hoping the crowd doesn't notice the tape over her mouth.
She doesn't always get the consistent great star whistle. I think they're still kind of figuring out how to officiate her. Right? Like I've said this for years when I covered Shaq and went to Shaq got fouled more than anybody I've ever seen. I mean, it was insane. People bounced off Shaq. Jokic complains constantly. Like, people are bouncing off me. She doesn't quite get as favorable a whistle as you think. So I think
neither does Steph too. That's the funny.
This isn't strategy. It's sabotage with a whistle. And everyone sees it. The fans see it. The commentators see it. Even the guy selling popcorn in row 5 sees it. Meanwhile, the rest of the league, they'd be thrilled to see Clark shipped out like a scapegoat. Just imagine the ticket sales if she landed somewhere that actually valued her. Put her in Vegas and they'd be sculpting her statue by the weekend. Drop her in New York and she'd be lighting up Times Square before her first shoot-around. But keep her stuck in Indiana under this leadership, and it's like stashing fireworks in a freezer. No spark, no payoff, just a slow, cold letdown. And yet, somehow, there's still this idea floating around that trading her would help the team. Help who? Exactly? The lottery odds? The third-string point guard self-esteem? The merch team still scrambling to keep Clark jerseys in stock? Let's be real, without Clark, Indiana's not rebuilding, they are disappearing. She's the only reason WNBA highlights are making it to national airwaves. She's the reason dudes who couldn't spell WNBA last year are suddenly breaking down pick-and-roll strategy like pros. You don't trade that. You protect it like it's the Ark of the Covenant.
So we all know who Caitlin Clark is. She's the golden goose, laying those golden eggs for the WNBA to prosper. Well, a lot of times we notice that the WNBA is resisting this golden goose and resisting this bump and this force of nature, which is Caitlin Clark. So we're going to dive deep into that. What's behind that? Is jealousy, envy, pettiness, all the above, more than that? We're going to have to go.
But if the goal really was to kill the momentum, benching her would be a solid first move. Hiring her basketball rival? That's the cherry on top of a sabotage sundae. Just make sure it all looks polished. Press conferences full of buzzwords like versatility and system fit. Keep the optics clean while the backroom politics do the real work. Honestly, it's almost impressive how coordinated it feels. Like someone in a boardroom said, let's find the one coach who could actually make Caitlin Clark seem replaceable. Because that's the mission: deflate the hype, reset the pecking order. And if a few losses pile up along the way, no big deal. Just collateral damage. So let's stop pretending this is about rookie learning curves or growing pains. This is about power. Power the league isn't comfortable giving to a single player. Power the front office doesn't want walking into post-game interviews and dominating the media cycle. Power that threatens the status quo with every pinpoint pass and deep three. The league had a choice: ride the wave, embrace the energy, let history unfold. Instead, they built a dam and hired someone to stand in front of it with a clipboard, pretending there's nothing behind it. Trading her wouldn't just be a mistake. It would be a message, a flaming, undeniable rejection of progress, the fans, and the league's own future. And here's the truth: fans wouldn't just be disappointed, they'd leave. Because watching greatness get buried under mismanagement isn't just frustrating, it's a turnoff.
So it's the last part of it, the players vote, that I take some exception to. And I'm not a big Caitlin Clark fan. Like, I don't care either way, but they vote her 9. And why I find that absolutely hilarious is you can say she's 9 if you want, but you don't treat her like she's 9. Because when she was here in town, they were picking her up 3/4 court the entire game, and they had her double teamed the entire game. Now, is your shooting efficiency going to go down?
So sure, keep benching her. Keep spinning it with tired coach speak and recycled lines about team development. But don't act surprised when the fans stop showing up, the ratings dip, and the star you tried to silence walks right out the door, taking her entire fan base with her. And when that day comes, don't blame the fans. Don't blame the media. Don't even blame Caitlin Clark. Look straight at the front office, the coach with the agenda, and the league that let it happen, and say, well done. You played yourselves. And just when you thought it couldn't get more obvious, the league cranks up the spotlight on Clark like a bulldozer crashing through a glass shop. At this point, it's not a conspiracy, it's choreography. The commissioner, the coach, and every suit in the building seem to be following the same Broadway script: how to humble a star player in 10 games or less. All Caitlin Clark wanted was to play ball, sign a few autographs, and bring some respect back to Indiana. Instead, she's been thrown into a full-blown sabotage operation disguised as culture building. You can practically hear the dramatic score play every time she gets subbed out for someone averaging 2 points and a nosebleed. Her real crime? Being too good, too fast, and too universally adored. That's it. That's the offense. She walked into the league with nationwide love, and the powers that be have treated her like she came in swinging a bat, not draining threes.
Caitlin Clark was #1 among fans, number 3 among media. What do you think she was among players?
Dead last.
Just not last.
Not last, no. But
Barely made it to the top 10. So she was 1, 3, and 9.
well,
Dick Vitale went off on a whole rant. It is pure jealousy. Someday these players will realize what she has done for them. They now have chartered planes, increase in salaries, sold out crowds, improved TV ratings. Stop being jealous haters on Caitlin.
This isn't basketball anymore. It's punishment disguised as competition. And to be clear, Caitlin Clark isn't out here causing chaos. She's not throwing fits, making cryptic posts, or skipping practices. She's just a tall, humble, jump-shooting beacon of Midwest charm trying to survive in a league that treats popularity like a contagious disease. Meanwhile, the WNBA is starting to resemble a slick corporate version of Game of Thrones, smiling for the cameras while orchestrating takedowns behind closed doors. Let's not pretend this coaching hire was some random move. This is the same coach who treated Clark with less empathy than a DMV worker on a double shift. Now suddenly she's her mentor? Come on. That's like asking a cat to look after your pet hamster. We all know how that ends. While the press spins lines about team first and building identity, the only identity forming here is one rooted in passive-aggressive resistance to Clark's spotlight. They don't want her to lead. They want her toned down. Not the centerpiece, but the background player holding the Gatorade while someone else runs the huddle. What we're seeing isn't about chemistry. It's about control. Shrink her influence just enough so the league doesn't look like it's orbiting around one player, even though everyone knows it is. And no, there won't be any statues of Caitlin Clark going up outside the arena anytime soon under this mindset.
Now let's look at the viewership, right? So I'm looking at here. So before the WNBA, before Caitlin arrived, the WNBA averaged around 300,000 to 400,000 viewers per game on national television, right? 300,000 to 400,000 viewership, right? The 2023 season, they said they saw an average of 367,000 viewers, right? When Caitlin Clark came, with her presence, the viewership has increased with some games drawing over 1 million viewers, right? Caitlin Clark's WNBA draft for her drew 2.45 million viewers. That's crazy. So that means these people and what she did in college and bringing them all to the WNBA scale, people are watching the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark.
The league doesn't want a world where Caitlin Clark's individual brilliance leads the conversation. They want a polished, everyone gets a turn kind of vibe. No standout, no disruption, just a tidy ensemble where the machine matters more than the engine. It's starting to feel less like professional basketball and more like the Soviet Union in sneakers. Clark's being treated like a celebrity guest no one really invited. Great for the promo reels, sure. But once the lights dim, she's relegated to the background for daring to outshine the system. And the commissioner? Please. She's not clueless. She's sitting courtside, popcorn in hand, nodding like everything's fine, while pretending not to notice Clark getting benched in crunch time. It's all very intentional. A full-on PR cleanse meant to reinforce the message, no player is bigger than the league. Unless, of course, that player fits the brand they are building. Spoiler alert, Clark doesn't. Let's be honest, Caitlin doesn't play the way they want to market it. She's not gritty in the focus-grouped, buzzword-laden way. She's not edgy in the corporate feminist, media-polished package they prefer. She's just a lethal, likable sharpshooter from Iowa, and that doesn't match the chaos aesthetic they are selling. So now, the plan is to grind her down, slowly and methodically, until she either falls in line or flames out.
There's a lot of hate on Caitlin Clark, and I think because she's white, because she's a hooper and she's going out there and bust people's ass every single night, and it's this little pretty petite country girl that you're not expecting. Again, she's not super athletic, she's not super big, but boy, can she shoot that ball, and she is must-watch TV. I think when she was hurt a few weeks ago, they said viewership dropped by 52%. You know what I mean? And
I didn't watch. I quit watching the teams. Yeah.
What we're witnessing isn't a culture shift. It's a quiet takedown, dressed up in soft lighting and buzzwords. It's a calculated effort to chip away at Caitlin Clark's presence, piece by piece. The league's new blueprint? No more celebrating standout talent. No more letting one rookie drive the ratings. No more empires built around viral threes and jersey sales. It's all about team-first narratives now, code for shrinking the spotlight until the star barely casts a shadow. And fans? They see it clear as day. You can hear it in the boos, read it in the tweets, feel it in the side eyes from the crowd. Clark's the reason casual fans suddenly know when Indiana's playing. She's the living, breathing boost the league's been craving. And instead of doubling down on that, they're trying to quietly write her out of the story before it's even begun. What we've got now is a league-sanctioned campaign of passive resistance. Clark's technically on the court, but she's not the focal point. She's praised in media hits but benched in garbage time. They hype her impact, then fail to build anything meaningful around her. It's like watching someone clap with their arms folded, forced and empty. Meanwhile, the league keeps sprinkling buzzwords like breadcrumbs, growth, equity, system development, all that corporate yoga speak that sounds profound but means nothing when your biggest draw is glued to the bench while her team gets blown out. The PR fog is so thick, you need a NASA telescope just to glimpse the truth.
Jealousy, when we talk about pettiness, Caitlin Clark's name always pops up because that's what she receives on a daily basis. And for the players to vote her 9th in guards just lets you know how out of touch they are. And it's not because of her game is simply because of those three things that I mentioned. She was ranked first by the fans, which makes sense. She was ranked number 3 by the media, which kind of makes sense. Anywhere between the 1, 2, or 3rd, that's fine. And then she was ranked 9th by the play.
And here's the worst part. They actually think we're falling for it. That fans will just nod along, mumble something about balance and process, and ignore the fact that a once-in-a-generation talent is being micromanaged by a coach with a personal agenda. Spoiler alert, we're not buying it. This isn't balance. It's a badly written drama with a scoreboard keeping track. Eventually, Caitlin Clark will have a choice to make. Keep playing in the league's version of the Hunger Games, or demand a trade to a team that actually cares more about winning than politics. Because let's be honest, the league has tied its visibility, ratings, and cultural relevance to her without ever acknowledging it out loud. The whole WNBA ecosystem is quietly revolving around her, even as they try to act like she's just another name on the roster. But take her out of the picture? You don't just lose a star, you lose the center of gravity holding the whole thing together. And if Clark finally decides she's had enough, she won't be seen as the villain. She'll be the magician pulling off the greatest escape act the league's ever seen, while everyone else is left to pick up the pieces.